And welcome back. I want to make today's video and talk about the San Antonio housing market as well as New Orleans. A lot of you guys asked about what's happening right now in San Antonio, Texas. I tend to talk about Dallas, Houston, and Austin. So I want to talk about San Antonio in today's video and also New Orleans, Louisiana as well. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I have a lot to share regarding current trends we're seeing right now regarding housing inventory, home prices, home sales, price reductions, and of course, much, much more. Let's first talk about what we're seeing right now in San Antonio, Texas right now. So new listings, according to Redfin, for the 4 weeks ended October 30th is down by 13.3% on a year-over-year basis. So the number of new listings is down compared to 2019 right here, as well as 2021, which is this orange line right here. So new listings down by 13.3%. Let's look at pending home sales, which of course is when a home seller accepts an offer from home buyer. For whatever reason, they don't have the total number of pending home sales, but they do have listing updates moving from a house that's for sale to pending home sale status. In other words, after they accept an offer. So the number of pending home sales is down by 34.4% from 2021 and far below 2019's levels as well. So pendings are down big time. New listings are down. Let's have a look at housing supply, which of course is active listings. And look at that. Active listings are up big time in San Antonio. Up by 33.96%. So more or less a 34% increase of active listings, which is pretty astonishing because even though they have 34% more houses for sale right now, the number of houses going into pending home sale status is down big time, down by 34%. So one would assume if there was still a strong home buying demand in San Antonio, Texas, and this is frankly across the United States as well, if we were to see a lot more houses listed for sale, if we had a lot of home buying demand, we would see a lot more pending home sales, a lot more contracts being signed between buyers and sellers. But we're seeing just the opposite. Even though we're seeing an increase in active listings, we're seeing a decrease of contracts being signed. So active listings up by about 34% from 2021. There's approximately 8,900 houses for sale right now. Compare this to 2019, about 10,756. So housing supply is up big time. Let's look at price reductions according to Altos. So the share of price drops according to altosresearch.com is at 56.66%. This is actually above the national average. Right now, the national average is about 43%. So the share of price reductions is over the national average and also much higher compared to previous years as well. Because right now at more or less 57%, 1 year ago it was only 32%. Back in 2020 it was also 32%, and pre-COVID back in 2019 it was 47%. So the share of price reductions right now at about 57% in San Antonio, Texas is at least a 3-year high. And also according to altosresearch.com, the median rent right now in that city is $1,800 right now. Compare this to more or less the end of July, it was $1,895 per month. Now it's $1,800. Let's talk about home prices though in San Antonio, Texas, which is right here. This is the median sold price in San Antonio, Texas, up by 8% on a year-over-year basis, still historically high. We tend to see home prices increase in the range of 3 to 6%, and of course not 8%. But the median sold price right now is $326,000. Compare this to the highs, which is more or less June of this year. The median sold price was $344,000. But look at the year-over-year increase then. That was at a 21% increase compared to the same time period in 2021. Now it's only an 8% increase. Also have a look at this because compared to the same time period in 2021, home prices were up by 18%. Let's just actually add 2020 as well. See what's going on there. 2020 at this time, home prices were up by 11%. And in 2019, which is obviously pre-COVID, prices only up by 4%. So right now, prices up by 8% on a year-over-year basis, much lower compared to 2021 as well as 2020, but more or less double the share back in 2019. Let's also have a look at days on the market, which of course is how fast or how slow houses are selling. And that's right here. So median days in the market right now is at 35 days. And this is actually 13 days longer compared to 2021. Let me exclude 2020 because that was just a completely abnormal year. So houses right now are selling about 13 days slower compared to the same time period in 2021 at 35 days right now. This is actually below 2019 though, when it was taking around 51 days to sell a house. Let's also have a look at the average sale to list price ratio in San Antonio. Wow, look at that. It just kind of took my breath away there. Look at this. That's pretty crazy. So right now, houses are selling approximately 2% below the seller's asking price at 98%, which is the ratio right here. This is much different compared to more or less April this year, when the share was about 102%, meaning on average, houses were selling about 2% over the seller's asking price. Now they're selling about 2% below, which is very close to 2019's levels right here, but far below 2021 this time, when on average, houses were selling for the asking price. So that's your latest housing market update for San Antonio, Texas. Leave me a comment below with your biggest takeaways regarding that. Let's talk about New Orleans, Louisiana. This is one of the markets I really haven't spent a lot of time analyzing their data, so I'm actually really excited to share what's going on in New Orleans. So new listings are up by 2.3% from the same time period in 2021. So they have more new listings, or slightly more new listings compared to last year. Let's look at pending home sales though. Pending home sales are down by 35.7%. Below levels in 2019, and of course, way below levels in 2021. And pendings have been going down really ever since May of this year, which coincides with home prices increasing or reaching highs back in May and June of this year on a national level. So we'll look at home prices here in a little bit. So pendings are down by about 36%. Let's look at housing inventory, which of course is active listings in New Orleans. Up by 44.5% on a year-over-year basis. There's approximately 4,196 houses for sale. Back in 2021, there was only 2,900. In 2019, there was approximately 5,000. So there's a lot more houses for sale right now compared to last year, but still below 2019's levels. Let's have a look at price reductions in New Orleans though, according to Altos. And look at this. The share of price drops right now is at 53%, much higher compared to 2021 when it was 40%. In 2020, it was about 44%. And pre-COVID back in 2019, about 47%. So the share of price drops, 53%, is again at least a 3-year high. Very similar to a lot of these other cities I cover in my videos. It's very common to see at least 3-year highs regarding price drops in the US right now. And also the median rent, according to Altos, is at $1,750 per month. Back in late July, it was about $1,900. So rents are decreasing in New Orleans, according to Altos. Let's look at home prices though. According to Redfin, this is the median sold price. So right now, the median sold price is $277,000. That's a 2% increase from 2021. Back right here though, the median sold price was $307,000. And at that time, that was a 9% increase on a year-over-year basis. Now it's only a 2% increase. It's gonna be interesting to see what this looks like at the end of the year though, because for this week right here, which is the 4 weeks ended October 9th, and the previous 5 weeks, they actually had a decrease in home prices on a year-over-year basis, but now it's only up by 2%. So it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like on December 31st. So that's home prices. Actually, let me share really quickly 2019, because 2019 this time, home prices were only $227,000. Let's look at days on the market though in New Orleans. Days on the market right now is 32 days. So it's taking approximately 8 days longer to sell a house in New Orleans compared to 2021, which is still below 2019 because at that time it was taking about 40 days to sell a house. Let's also look at the average sale price to list price ratio. Say that fast 15 times. Look at this. The ratio is actually below 2021 as well as 2019. So right now, houses are selling about 3% below the asking price on average, which is much different compared to right here when houses were selling for about the asking price. Also compare this to 2021. Again, houses are selling for about 2% below the asking price. Here's another interesting trend we're seeing right now in New Orleans, at least the metro area of New Orleans. Look at this. This is the percent of pending home sales in which the home seller accepted an offer from the home buyer within the first 2 weeks of being listed for sale. So right now that represents about 44.8% of all pending home sales in New Orleans, which is actually 12 percentage points less compared to 2021. So again, right now, approximately 44.8% of all pending home sales went off market within the first 2 weeks of being listed for sale. Compare this to 2021 this time though, it was about 56.9%. So during that time, it was more often to see home prices go off market or for the home seller to accept an offer within the first 2 weeks than not. And right now, though, it's just the opposite because only 45% went under contract within the first 2 weeks. Let's also have a look at the number of home sales in New Orleans as well. Because remember, there's approximately 44.5% more houses listed for sale right now compared to 1 year ago. So there's a lot more houses listed for sale, but let's look at homes that actually have sold though. So home sales are down by 15.2% on a year-over-year basis, below 2021 as well as 2019's levels. And the number of home sales have been declining really ever since more or less May and June of this year. And just for fun, let's have a look at how this compares to San Antonio, Texas. So again, in San Antonio, there's approximately 34% more houses listed for sale compared to a year ago. So they have far more houses for sale. Let's look at homes sold though in San Antonio. Homes that actually have sold are down by 26.5% and have been declining more or less ever since July of this year. Down by 26.5%, which is pretty astonishing. This is actually below 2019's levels when there's about 628 houses that sold. And back in 2021, there was 753. And now there's only 553 houses that sold for the 4 weeks ended October 30th of this year. And with that said, please comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value in this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I greatly appreciate that. Also, consider subscribing as well. I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can be more informed. And with that said, I'll see you on the next video. Have an awesome day.